Hello and welcome back to the wee larder. Today I'm going to be making delicious traditional Scottish oatcakes, and these are so easy to make. They're really good with cheese and red currant jelly and peanut butter and all sorts of things, and I'm going to be cooking them in a traditional method as well. So let's get started on this recipe. So for this recipe you're going to need 450 grams of fine oatmeal, 1 tablespoon of melted butter, 1 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda, 1 teaspoon of fine sea salt, and some boiling water, and it's basically just enough boiling water to make the oatcakes dough. So to get started, if you just add your oatmeal, your salt and your bicarbonate of soda into the mixing bowl. And I have actually melted the butter in my cast iron griddle that I'm going to be using to cook the oatcake, so it's actually greased the pan really well and it's also melted my butter for me. So we're just going to add that butter into the oatmeal and give it a good stir around. So you're going to want to add just enough boiling water to form a stiff dough. Now it can be quite sticky, but you want it like quite a dry texture. So if you've added too much water, just add in a little extra oatmeal at the end. So once you've added in enough water to form a dough, you really want to get your hands in there and get your knuckles punching down the dough to form it together. And you're going to want to form that into a really stiff ball. And it can be quite, not brittle, but it can be quite easy to break pieces off, but you don't want it too sticky. So you want it about this texture. Now it's a really stiff, firm dough that you're looking for. So roll it into a ball shape. It really doesn't matter if it's not a perfect ball. And we're going to sprinkle some oatmeal onto our chopping board. This is to stop the dough from sticking. So we're going to push it down with our hands, and as you can see it does break quite easily, so just be careful. And I'm just using my knuckles here and my hands just to push the dough down, and then I'm going to use the rolling pin to roll it out flat. So you want to roll it out about the thickness of about 1/4 of an inch. So I've rolled it really flat, and I'm going to use a plate to cut a huge circle out of this dough. Well, it's not really dough in the sense like pizza dough, it's out of my oatcakes dough. So we're just going to slice around the plate with a knife there and pull away any excess oatmeal dough. And this is to create the triangular shaped oatcakes. They're quite a traditional look, and we're just going to flatten the edges around there just to kind of smooth things off. You can use your hands, you don't have to use a knife. And feel free to add in extra oatmeal if you need to underneath the oatmeal as you're rolling it, just to stop it from sticking. And we're just going to slice it into 4 quarters. Now it does break easily, so as you can see there, but you can push it back together quite well. So in our pan we're going to place our oatcakes, and you could use like a large flat frying pan, a large griddle. Or you could use one of those traditional things over the fire if you're feeling really fancy. So these are cooked on a really medium heat. Anything high will just burn them. And we just want to brown them gently and turn them, and they will harden up. But be very careful when you're turning them in the beginning, because we are going to turn them quite a few times. And they do break quite easily, so just be careful when you're turning. The edges start to curl up ever so slightly when these are ready, and they will just be a lot firmer to the touch as well. So I've turned them again, and I just keep doing this throughout the cooking process, and then once they're nice and browned, I put them in the oven, and you can see they are drying out and they're browning off nicely. It doesn't actually show you very well in video how nicely browned they were actually looking in the pan, but they were actually looking quite good. And you can see the firmness of the oatcake once it is ready. It's really quite firm to touch. And they're still quite brittle as well. They're easily broken, but you just have to handle these quite delicately. And to finish them off, traditionally they would have placed them in front of the fire, but we're actually going to put ours into another cast iron pan and we're going to pop these in the oven. Now I've actually just put the oven on at 100 Celsius, so it's quite low. I've just kept it low it's basically just to warm them and dry them out even further. You're not actually doing any additional cooking. It's just to dry them out. And I'm actually using a bit of tissue paper just to get the extra crumbs off to start the next batch. And I've put some butter in there as well. It's actually starting to burn a little bit. So the next batch I've actually used a small cup just to make circular ones. Now these are really popular as well, and you can use them for cheese. I find the circular ones work really well with a piece of cheese and jelly on the top. And you can make a little piece as well and put it in your packed lunch. So in these go into the oven and they're just going to rest in there with the oatcakes, the additional oatcakes as they cook. So this recipe actually makes quite a lot of oatcakes. It depends what sizes you use, but it's good fun to make a variation. And you can see they break really nicely once they're done, and I've just added on some creamy blue Scottish cheese and some homemade red currant jelly. Absolutely delicious. Oatcakes always remind me of being round at my granddad's when we were little. He ate so many oatcakes and cheese. And my dad, and then it's just a tradition that's been passed on to us as well. You can use all different kinds of cheeses, but creamy cheeses work really well with oatcakes, I find. And we are, of course, big fans of other cheeses like Stilton and French cheeses like Brie and stuff as well. But there's nothing better than a good Scottish cheese. So that's my little tower of the circular oatcakes, and they're just cooling down nicely. And we've added in some lovely red currants onto our oatcakes because we have so many red currants in our garden at the moment. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that super easy recipe. If you're on Instagram, pop over and say hello. And if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to hit the like button and hit the subscribe button as well. So take care, guys, and I'll see you all again soon. Lots of love. Bye.